In this video, I'm going to look at some aspects of a 4-3-3 setup for a football or a soccer team. When I'm saying that there's a 4-3-3 setup, what we're seeing here is the keeper is one at the back, and then we have 4 defenders, 3 midfielders, and 3 forwards. In the way that I've arranged the players on the field at the moment, they are set so that each one of these players is supported, apart from the ones on the side. But let's have a look at 10. 10 is supported by 2 players that are able to defend. So if 11 had the ball here and 10 went to press on 11, and for some reason 11 got past 10, we've got number 6 or number 7 is able to support in depth. And then same again with 7, there is a 4 and a 3 covering them. So we see this diamond structure, and I've sort of overlaid these yellow diamonds here to show the structure of how a team should be set up if it wants to be able to pass the ball well, if it wants to be able to defend in depth. Now notice the structure at the moment of this team, of the blue team, is set up if we would think that the ball was maybe over this side of the field somewhere. Maybe number 6 has the ball, or 7 and 11. So our forwards have sort of shifted over towards the left, but we could think they could easily just slide again down to the bottom here, where 9 could go with 10, where 10 is, 10 could go where 11 is, and 11 could go here further to the right hand side here. So these lines of players should better shift horizontally across the pitch, and obviously the line behind them, or the players behind them, need to shift their position to keep this the ability of them to defend the player in front of them. So the worst case scenario is if the player behind a player is directly in line behind them, and that means if a player, so if number 6 was directly behind 10, all that 11 needs to do once it gets past 10 is there's a whole pile of space over here that they could go into. Well, let's look at what this type of team, the setup, might do if we start play from a kickoff in the center. So let's have a look at this. So here I've got, we've shifted one of our midfielders up. Okay, so they've come over here and we've shifted over. We've still got this kind of diamond pattern happen. Got 2 forwards in the middle here with the ball, and we're going to look to create some opportunity to attack with this blue team. Now, one of the problems with passing this ball forward from the start is that this half of the field is quite congested. There's a lot of opponents in this half of the field. So as soon as we push forward into this half of the field and try and pass the ball in, there's going to be a lot of defense, and a lot of defense in depth that can occur, and we will definitely not be able to overload our players or have more players than the opponents do in a certain space. So we're going to be in a disadvantage if we attack. So what we want to do is keep good control of the ball and entice our players to move forward out of their position and produce some space in behind, or in this side of the field. So the first move that I would expect if I had a team set up like this for us to do is to kick the ball off, maybe to 7, to 6, to 3. Now the point is to move the ball in such a way that we entice the players to defend over on one side. Let's have a look at this. So we pass the ball to 7. Now this is possibly what could happen, how the team may respond. So 11's going to come over here and look to cover any passes that might go to 6. 10 is going to come up here, put some pressure on 7. 6 is coming through to cover this, coming across and to cover where the ball is. 9 comes up here, putting pressure on this side, and then our midfield are coming up to cover these players, and our whole backline pushes up. So as we would expect the red team to move as a unit to put pressure on and where that ball is. Okay, so we've moved the ball to 7. Now 7, once they get this ball, should do a reasonably quick movement because they don't want to get caught on the ball. They don't want to get caught with the ball. So 7 now passes the ball off to 3. Now you can see what we're going to try and do here is we've passed the ball on to 7, but we want the ball to hook around to the other side. Now if the ball hooks around to the other side, our opponents are going to push to put pressure on the ball, and they're going to move over to this side of the field, up to the top here. So if you look, so what's going to happen now, this player's looking to put pressure on the ball, this player's coming in to support, number 6 is coming in to cover 6 here, 9 just to put pressure on 7, and then 8, 7 move up, and you know what, our backs are going to move up even further, maybe up to halfway. So they're really looking to put pressure on to grab that ball and to attack on our in our half. Okay, so we've moved the ball from 7 to 3, and 3 does a quick movement and puts it off to 2. Boom. Right? Now again, this whole red team has been adjusting, so it's been moving along this arc, and they're going to start to move up this way. So as they move up this way, we're going to expect 2 to pop the ball up to 9. So have a look here. So as 2 pops the ball up to 9, so 2's actually, the red 2 is going to come in to put pressure on 2 here, right? So they're going to move up, they're going to see 2's got the ball. Possibly they might stay round 9, but there's a good chance they're going to move up. And 2, oh, let's just go back here, let's see what happens here. So our 5 on the other side, recognizing that we have the ball on the left, and seeing that down this side there's a bit of space. Okay, you can see here's 5. 5's over here looking at this. 8 is here. Our 5 in the blue team is saying, okay, I think I've got space. I might just better move up here, and people aren't noticing. So 5 moves up into here. As they do that, 2 now passes the ball to 9. And what we can see is that 9 now has the ball on the halfway. I've got 2 players sitting over on the other side who could take advantage right now. So this 5 has already started moving, so they've got momentum and they just sprint. They're coming into this zone here. So 9 has the ball. Now it doesn't have to be 9. You could think about it this way. Imagine that 2 was still covering 9. What if the red 2 was still covering 9? What would happen here is the blue 2 would pass the ball to 9. 9 would move forward to grab it, and then the blue 2 would overlap 9. So the red 2 would still be sitting here, the blue 9 has moved up, and the blue 2 overlaps and collects the ball here. Depending on how the defenders of the red team respond to what 2 and 9 are doing, with 2 players here and 1 who is defending, and the reason why there's only 1 defending, remember, is because we moved the ball down and around. And we suckered them all into this place in the middle here. They left 1 defender. Either that 1 defender is going to cover 9. 9 will do a quick, 2 will quickly hit it to 9, and then 9 will just put it round the side and overlap. 2 will run onto it, and then 2 can just pop the ball into this deep space here really quick, knowing that the players on their side are already running into that space. Okay, so that's one way that we could create the space that we need to get an overload in this third. See, there's an overload here because all of the defenders are up here, and I'm getting 2 players into here on the ball against this keeper. So, boom, just like that. Okay, so imagine that our defenders are a lot cleverer, right? So they're defending in depth here. They didn't push up on these last players, and they're giving, we still got the ball up to 9, but 2 is hanging off and 3 is covering 2 in depth. So, okay, so some good play here. Now there's 2 things that they might do when 9 has the ball here. So 2 might then go in and close on 9. 3 is going to have to move up to support 2. So let's have a look here. Oh, wait. 4 and 4 and 5, this is the other option, might move up. So 4 is looking to move up to cover 10 because 10 could possibly get the ball. 5 is covering 11, but also covering 4 at the same time. But so 2 is still defending in depth. 4 has moved up to 10. And now because 4 and 5 moved up, they've created this wee avenue here, this wee space that 9 can put the ball through. Again, look at 5. Everyone's moved over to this side. No one's looking at 5. 5 is going to move from this back here, and they're going to sprint their guts up. They're going to go all the way up there, and 8's going to go with them. And 9, if 4 and 5 move through, they're just going to pass it through this channel straight into this pocket. Okay, and they're going to be attacking on 8 and 5 are going to be attacking on goal, and boom, there we go. Now look at what 11 and 10 do. As soon as 11 and 10, soon as not before 9 has passed the ball, but as right after 9 has passed the ball, they make their runs. Now look at 11. 11 is crossing over to the far post, and 10 is going to the near post. They're crossing their runs. So this defender 5 is trying to make a decision. Are they going to follow 11 and go on the other side from where they would be because they're a left back, or what are they going to do? And 10's going to cross over, and they're going to make indecision in these defenders. And what they're doing to cross over is 11 is going to come around and loop around behind, and 10 is going to come on the near post, knowing that one of these players is locked onto this ball, and they're going to be putting it across for a perfect ball. Okay, so the other option that could have happened here, and I talked about it just before, is that 2 could have moved up. Here we go. 2's put pressure on 9. So 3 has to move up. Oh, sorry, 4 has moved up to cover 3, and 5 has moved back to cover 4. You can imagine that 3 could move up just a wee smidgy up here too, just a little bit. So as soon as 2 moved up, but the others came back to cover 2, and to cover this, to defend a bit more in depth. If they defend a bit more in depth instead of pushing up, again, they open up a channel. This channel is a bit closer, okay? And in this case, if 8 and 5 go on here, they might go more direct towards goal because these 10 and 11 won't get away from the defenders so well. But it still creates an opportunity for us. So 9 can now put the ball into this pocket closer. So what we're trying to do, the whole aim of the kickoff from here, remember, is to get the ball back, pull the attackers from the other team, or the forwards and the midfield, and even the defenders up to create space that we can run freely on the other side. So but we know exactly what we're going to do. We're going to pull the ball back, we're going to drop it and loop around and go up this side. And then we're going to look to put a ball through to our back and our half on the other side that are running forward to intercept it. Now, this doesn't always work. If we get up to 9 here and 9 doesn't have any opportunities, and let's say that the red team have dropped back, you just again go all the way around the back line to the other side, and then we try it on the other side. And we keep moving the ball around in this kind of loop from the side, round the back to the side, until we find an opening, an opportunity that we can exploit. Okay, I hope this has been helpful, and yeah, let me know. Give me some feedback if you have any questions. Thanks.